What's going on, guys? Decided to do another cool series, I guess. And what I'm gonna do is in the background, I'm just gonna have some gameplay. Right now, I'm doing Gauntlet. My team is upgraded from this, as I've been playing a lot more. But this is just some videos I had online that I posted or whatnot. So I decided to just commentate over it. And what this series is gonna be about is I'm going to talk about my predictions. Well, not really predictions, but just talk about the NBA season as what's going on right now and what I believe will happen later. It's because I did make a video of this quite recently, probably a month or two ago, and I got a lot of comments and hate and questions about some of my predictions. So I kind of want to go, instead of doing the whole NBA and everything in one video, I'm going to break it down by divisions, even though divisions are pretty much useless at this point, and talk about each team and whatnot, what goes on. So I'm going to start with the Atlantic Division, and this is one of the most controversial divisions in the video I made. So first in the division is the Boston Celtics. As of right now, I believe the Celtics are 1-2 or 1-1, something around that. They're all right. So, in my opinion, I think the Celtics will do fairly average this year unless they make a trade, because they do have a lot of assets, whether it be draft picks or young players that they can flip for a big superstar or just a very solid player. So, my prediction for them really quickly is pretty much finish with about the 7th seed. I do think that they are a playoff team in the East. Let me first off by saying I hate when people just say, "Oh yeah, in the East" or "Oh, in the West." Of course, the West is slightly better, but it's not like everyone's like, "Oh, you win 5 games, you're in the playoffs in the East." No, I just hate how much people are overblowing that. But anyways, I do think that they are a playoff team in the East, probably 7th or 8th seed. I'm not sure just yet, but I feel like they are a good playoff team. Of course, they do need some improvement. I do like their backcourt. I am partially a Celtics fan. They're my second favorite team. I do like their guards. Avery Bradley's not my favorite guy, but I do like a bunch of other guys like Marcus Smart and Isaiah Thomas. And, I mean, Tyler Zeller has been doing pretty well, too. I've watched a couple of their games, or one of them, and including preseason, and he seemed pretty good out there. So I do like them in general, and look for them at the 7th or 8th seed. Next is the Brooklyn Nets. The Nets, I believe, don't have a win yet, and I don't think that's really going to change in terms of their success. Of course, they're going to have to win some games eventually, but I don't like them whatsoever. I can see them finishing bottom 3 in the entire NBA sometime this season. They're just not a good team overall. They have Brook Lopez, who I used to like, but he is pretty successful. He can lead a team, not to the playoffs, but to a pretty decent season. They do have Thaddeus Young, who I like as well, but he's not much more than a 4th option pretty much on your team. And they have Joe Johnson, who he's getting old, so he can't do too much. But the whole thing about this team is they have really no one on their team. They have no depth. They have no one after that horrible trade that they had with the Celtics. Of course, I liked it as a Celtics fan, but for the Nets, that was just horrendous. I mean, it was sad to see Garnett and Paul Pierce leave, but they did get a lot back, which was very useful. Anyways, I did enjoy that trade for the Celtics, but the Nets that just screwed them over, especially considering also this wasn't with the Celtics but the Hawks a few years ago where they traded away Joe Johnson. That completely backfired, as their pick is going to the Hawks this year as long as they have a worse pick, which will most likely happen. So look for them as like a bottom 3 to 5 team. They're not going to do well whatsoever, and they have really no trade assets, so the Nets are kind of sad to watch right now. Next up is the New York Knicks. At the beginning of the season, I thought the Knicks wouldn't be much better than last season, but I have to admit, I think they will do pretty, not very good, but pretty better. Of course, this means I think that they'll win probably low 30s in terms of games. And Nets, I predict them to win 22 tops, probably like 20, like mid to low 20s are going to be their highest. For the Knicks, I can see them winning like mid to low 30s. As Carmelo, I kind of underestimate how good he is, because when there's a guy who's injured, you completely underestimate how great he is, such as Kevin Durant. But, like, he was pretty nice. Of course, I don't like him as a defender. He's not a really great defender. And look at that green, excellent shot I just missed. I should make a compilation of that. Sorry for deviating from the whatever I was talking about, but yeah, Carmelo Anthony is actually pretty valuable to the team, and he's not that bad. He actually had a pretty solid night the other night. I think he had 39 or something along the lines of that, so that was very nice to see him have that. But also, the rest of the team is performing pretty well. Porzingis, even though he does have some issues, I feel like he's very foul prone. He has been playing pretty well. I believe he had like a 15-point game, which is pretty nice as a rookie. And Robin Lopez has been doing all right. It's just an all-around solid team for the starting 5, but I just feel like, I don't know, I don't see them making a push for the playoffs, and if they do, they'll be 8 seed at best, but even then, I feel unlikely. So I'm predicting about like a 33 win range, so probably 10th in the conference. Next up is the Philadelphia 76ers. So the Sixers, as of right now, I don't believe they have a win. They got blown out, I think, was it today or yesterday? I don't remember. I just remember they lost by 20-something, I believe, to the Jazz. And they're not going to do too well either. I do like the Sixers a lot more than the Nets, though. I don't know if they're going to do better, as the Sixers are trying to rebuild still. And, I mean, that's not even a bad thing, because I hate everyone who's just, like, complaining about them rebuilding, because, in all honesty, this is not a bad idea. I mean, of course, it could completely falter, and this will look as probably the worst thing of all time in sports, possibly, if not the NBA, where pretty much they had a team that was in the playoffs with Iguodala, Drew Holiday, and Thaddeus Young. So it's not a great team, but that was a solid 7 seed every year in the East. And then they decided to trade for Andrew Bynum, which, I mean, at that time anybody would. I believe that was after his All-Star season. Then Bynum just did not pan out, and from there they just gave up because, I mean, if you're trading away a guy who has been on your franchise forever in Andre Iguodala, and you end up getting a guy who doesn't even play for you, I believe he didn't play a game for them, you kind of just give up and you lose hope. And then it just came into what's going on now, where they're just tanking and going for draft picks and young players. The thing is, I don't hate what they're doing, because they are giving a lot of chances to these guys who probably would not have made it in the NBA otherwise. For instance, Robert Covington. I believe Covington did play for the Rockets for a little bit, but he didn't get many minutes. But now that he's on the Sixers, they're giving him a lot of minutes, so he is improving as a player. And the also thing I like is people are actually looking at him and saying he's a valuable player. Of course, he's hurt right now, and he's not the best player. I mean, he's mainly a shooter, and he's a decent defender. But if he wasn't on the Sixers, no one would probably even know about him. So that's what I like about the Sixers and what they're doing. Also, what I have to say about them is there's a lot of other guys, and some things I don't get. Like, there's guys who I believe had a lot of potential that they could have played. I know they cut Scotty Wilbekin, who I actually kind of liked, because Florida, the Gators, I forgot what year that was, but I liked watching Scotty Wilbekin. They cut him, which I was kind of upset about, but I do enjoy what they're doing. And of course, I do think that Jahlil Okafor will win Rookie of the Year at this point. I mean, Karl-Anthony Towns has a good chance of winning as well as Emmanuel Mudiay, but I believe Jahlil Okafor, if they really don't care about defense, he's probably the best option, as I believe he had 27 points his first game. But Karl-Anthony Towns is pretty nasty too, so it's up to those two, and maybe Mudiay, and maybe there's a couple other rookies you might throw in there, but this is much better Rookie of the Year race than last year, it felt like, and I'm looking forward to it. Of course, the Sixers, I'm not predicting more than 25 wins at the absolute best, and that goes with their plan of building around these draft picks. Hopefully Embiid will be healthy, because if that happens, they can be really special, with a lot of great big men, along with Dario Saric coming by, or along with trading away one of their big men or two of their big men and picking up a solid guard. Because, I mean, Tony Rowan's alright, but he's not someone you want to build around at guard, and including small forward as well. Anyways, let's go to the team I had the most controversy over, and that is the Toronto Raptors. I predicted the Raptors not to finish top 5 in the conference, and everyone was giving me hell for that. It seemed there must have been a lot of Toronto fans, and personally, I just don't like Toronto. Like, I liked them probably 3 or 4 years ago. I just felt like they were a great up-and-coming team. And yeah, they've been making the 3 seed every year, it seems. But the thing is, they just don't do anything in the playoffs. I believe they made it once past the first round ever, and that was 2 years ago. Was that against the Nets? I'm not positive off the top of my head. I don't think it was against the Nets. I don't remember who it was against, but they did make it past the first round, but it wasn't like super convincing to do anything deep into the playoffs. And last year, they just got destroyed by the Wizards, and I kind of like the Wizards, but they did have a lot of flaws last year, especially with Nene. I mean, Nene has just declined so hard over the past few years. I used to like him when he was in Denver, but now he's almost worthless to the team. It sounds terrible, but I don't know. I just don't like him anymore, it seems. And they just got, like, destroyed by them. So that's why I predicted Toronto not to have a great season. And so far, they've been alright. I believe they might be actually won all their games, or might have only one loss. And I don't know if I'm going to change the whole thing of them not being top 5, as showing how strong the top of the East can be. And I don't think they're up there yet. But in general, I do think that they will be a playoff team no matter what. Alright, I probably should have clarified that more in my first video, because I might have made it come off as I thought that they weren't going to make the playoffs whatsoever. I do think they are going to. I just feel like they don't do anything in the playoffs with their current roster. Of course, DeMarre Carroll is an upgraded small forward over Terrence Ross. He's been playing well, but I don't know if that's enough to push him over the gap. I mean, they do have Corey Joseph, and they also added Dion Wright and Luis Scola, but Scola was kind of did nothing. Deion Wright doesn't really play much, and Corey Joseph didn't do too much. While Kyle Lowry did lose weight, and he's more athletic now and more agile, I don't know if that's enough to really push him deep into the playoffs. So I still predict them to finish probably 5th in the East or 6th in the East, around that mark, depending on how everyone else does. But in general, I think that they're not going to do super well, but they're not going to do as bad as some people maybe thought I was saying. But anyways, those are like a quick wrap up of the Atlantic Division. Of course, I'm going to try to do more of these. I like talking about the NBA, so I want to talk about the guys and maybe clarify some points I was making, because sometimes I feel like people may not have understood my points or what I was thinking. So maybe, hopefully, you guys who are Toronto fans or just fans of the NBA, you understand this better. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video and listening to me, and write down below if you agree, or maybe I try to clarify my points. If not, write me, and don't just hate on me. Talk to me about why you think so. I tried to talk about it a little bit more. It wasn't the best, but what happens, happens. Anyways, guys, please hit me up with a like. That'd be great. And of course, comment down below. Subscribe for more 2K content, and share with your friends if they like the NBA or watch 2K, because I'm going to be posting 2K behind it. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.